In your own words, what separates you from your opponents?
Sure. So I'm running as an independent outside the two-party system, and I'm not taking any corporate or super PAC donations, which will allow me to legislate my agenda outside the influence of special interests.
And explain what you see as the most important issue facing the state.
Sure. So I've simplified my platform down to what I refer to as my 5-point plan, which consists of, number one, improving civic engagement. Florida can no longer continue to be the third most populous and yet one of the least civically engaged states in the entire country. Number two, chartering a state bank to fund infrastructure projects. Number three, a Green New Deal for Florida, which primarily involves investing in a 21st century modern transportation infrastructure and jobs and training programs to do that. Number four, legalizing and regulating marijuana, cannabis, and hemp products. And finally, number five, transition to 100% renewable energy by 2030.
And how are you uniquely qualified to address these issues?
So I'm a self-employed project manager. I have my own LLC, and I primarily only think in terms of deadlines and timelines and budgets and contractors and vendors, and making sure all that works together in order to deliver a product on time and on budget. And as well, my experience as an activist and an organizer really introduced me to the political arena and taught me about the local resolution process and really the legislative process in general.
Should teachers and/or school employees that are not law enforcement be armed?
Sure. So I've got a lot of friends who are teachers, and I'm sensitive to the feedback on this. I feel that teachers are sending the message loud and clear that they don't want to be armed and they don't want to see weapons introduced into the classroom environment.
Are the current gun laws in Florida too strict, too weak, or just right, and why?
So the U.S. has a high rate of gun violence compared to other countries, and I would want to, of course, see that reduced, but without infringing on the rights of law-abiding gun owners and constitutional rights. And so we've just seen recently a change in Florida's gun laws, and we'll see how that plays out.
The Stand Your Ground law has been highly controversial. Do you think the law is working, or is there something lawmakers should do to change it?
Sure. So we've seen a number of high-profile abuses of the Stand Your Ground law, from Trayvon Martin to Marissa Alexander to, I know that there was an on-duty police officer that attempted to invoke Stand Your Ground recently, and similarly, whenever these laws get passed, the homicide rate just skyrockets, and so I think there's already enough protection afforded under the Castle Doctrine that it's not necessary, and so I support a repeal of Stand Your Ground.
Under what circumstances would you support the legalization of marijuana for recreational use?
So I've actually made this the fourth plank of my 5-point plan because I feel that strongly about it. I think we have an opportunity to decrease, to save money on all these unnecessary arrests of nonviolent, marijuana related offenders, and also whenever these laws get passed, like for example in Colorado, huge amounts of revenue is generated, and especially since Florida is already a no income tax state, I think it could be a great way to generate revenue.
Despite public support for it, the texting while driving bill stalled again last session. What, if anything, should be done to pass a bill that would involve stronger enforcement for texting while driving?
Yeah, so Florida's roads are extremely dangerous, and I would support a public awareness campaign, public education campaign, to let drivers know just how dangerous it is to be tailgating at 80 miles per hour. And once you start introducing distractions into that environment, it just turns the roads into scenes of horror.
What question do you wish someone would ask you, and why?
I guess that would be, what was the last book I read? just because I have a lifelong passion for reading, and it's how I've been able to stay one step ahead and gain a thorough awareness of issues. For example, I'm doing a lot of research, reading a lot of books about Florida history to gain a greater perspective, and so I think literacy is very important and something that should be celebrated.
Who is your political hero and why?
Sure. So it's probably too easy to say former Governor Rubin Askew, but when I've been doing my research of Florida's political leaders, he's really the one who stands out as someone who is able to legislate his agenda on his convictions and with outside the influence of this highly charged partisan political environment that we have today.
Anything else you would like people to know about you?
Sure. Well, I'm running on the slogan stability because it's what I think we really need, and voters should know that they have an opportunity in November to turn Florida independent, which it really already is. And I would encourage everyone to check out my full platform at my website, brucestanley.com.